Now moving to the financial performance report, item 9, and Bruce, welcome to the table. Let's, if we can, just keep to the highlights as Peter did. Obviously, highlight those things that you need to, and then we'll move to questions.
Yes, certainly. I'll take the report as read. A significant operating surplus year-to-date and forecast, so a very strong result, second year running. It has improved significantly in the last month, 4.2, outlines subvention receipts better than budget, and some remuneration savings largely as a result of vacancies freed up. So a very good result forecast for this financial year. 4.3 COVID forecast is stable in terms of forecast costs relating to COVID, 6.4 million. That doesn't include the recovery package that was approved a couple of weeks ago by council. In terms of capex, just refer you to section 6. Budgeted borrowing was $305 million this year. Our forecast at the moment is 112. That's hugely different, a lot lower, obviously due to the capital program and the positive operating result. That leads directly into the point that's been flagged at 8.5 around one of our treasury policies that's at risk of breach, and I'll get Steve Ballard, our Group Treasurer, to give you a brief update on that, if I may.
Steve, thank you. Welcome to the table. So this is paragraph 8.5, the at-risk funding policy.
Yes, hopefully it's reasonably self-explanatory, and I guess I'll start with an apology that this sort of stuff shouldn't happen, or if it does, it should come with a longer advance notice. Effectively, what's happened is that the focus of our borrowing in recent months has been to try and keep things reasonably short. Firstly, because that suits the needs of some of the on-lending that we're doing, especially to CCHL, but also because of pre-planning for potential impacts on our debt portfolio from Three Waters. It's not perceived as helpful to have an awful lot that goes out a very long time if there's likely to be major disruption around the sort of June 24 time. We have obviously tried to keep a reasonable spread. As you can see from the graph in 8.6, the green bars are where our debt currently matures. But our reporting tools that we use didn't give us very good advance notice of the longer term breaking down towards the minimum end of the 7 years or more. The main focus has been on the shorter end, making sure we don't have too much in the first 3 years. So I'm in the process of fixing that. We had a discussion in our internal Treasury meeting earlier this month to say, well, here's the issue. We've discovered this will happen by the end of April. And it's because of a bunch of maturities in April 29 that will slip from that greater than to less than time bucket. And we've got a choice. We can either borrow in advance of requirements for a long period of time to maintain the policy, or we can wait until we actually need the borrowing, which will be around September, October time. And the feeling was that it was preferable to do the former in the circumstances rather than the latter.
Great, thank you. I mean, that seems to make perfect sense. Borrowing for the sake of borrowing to be on the right side of the policy when we've got no purpose for the funds that we're borrowing in a lower capital spend than expected environment and a higher operating surplus than expected environment, I think makes clear why you're providing the advice you are. Thank you. All right, happy to move to questions? Okay, so are there any questions for either Bruce or Steve on the report or on the Treasury matter? Yanni.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, I was just trying to get back to the page. It's just around, there's a reference to, I think it's an underspend or a carry forward around EV grants. I think it's item 15 on page 64. Strategy planning, future development, regeneration. It says variances driven by lower personnel costs, timing of grants, and it's got 0.4 million to 0.2 million EV grant forecast to be carried forward. What is the EV grant? Is like, can anyone update on what's happening there, or can we get information back? But why is that being carried forward?
Sorry, I'm just trying to.
I mean, I'm happy just to get an email about it, but I remember when we had a big discussion and there was some projects that were put forward to be funded through that fund, and then it was told that there was a process that had to be gone through.
Sorry, what was the paragraph number?
15?
15
15. Oh, down the bottom.
on attachment A.
Because I think Councillor Templeton had an amendment to the LTP, or the annual plan, to add some budget for, I think, for EV charging. Right. Yeah.
Timing of grants.
Yeah.
We'll come back to you on Yanni. Look, I think
Yeah, we'll have
the
to-
reality is I think it's timing. It's what they're saying is timing of grants. It's not necessarily that they haven't been allocated, it's timing of it. So we'll come back to you with an answer though.
Yeah, because what are we like? We're nearly May now. We've got 2 months left.
Yeah.
Been
Let's,
that
let's
We'll
come
come
back
back
to
to
that.
process.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks. Cheers.
Anything further?
That's all from me. Thank you.
All right. So again, we've got a recommendation to receive the information in the report and noting the likely breach of the funding risk policy limit. I'm happy to move both of those. Do I have a seconder? Jimmy Chen. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? That's carried. Thank you very much. Now moving to item